Hello, my name is Bruce Simpson, and I'm a Director of Commercial Operations for Fisher Bioservices, and I have responsibility for a number of sites, a number of biorepositories throughout the United States. One of the things that I've learned that is very important to our clients and very important to our own organization is risk management and the management of risk. The management of risk is part of all business operations. But to people in the biotech companies manufacturing cell-based therapies, risk mitigation is necessary. The costly nature of your irreplaceable samples, your valuable cell lines, this most high-value product such as cell-based drugs, biologic active pharmaceutical ingredient, dictates you and I to plan for the full continuum of risk. The best solution is frequently off-site storage, and I wanted to share with you some of the questions that you might ask yourself or you might ask of another party that might be entrusted with your most valuable samples. A risk threat assessment is very much a subjective process. Most threats are really low in probability. You could have years of mild weather, which would be normal. You could have little opportunity for terrorism. So something like weather and terrorism certainly might be a minor concern. But there's always the potential for sites that could be targeted that are very near government buildings or major airports or major cities. So it's important not only to assess situations, but the severity of the type of risk that might impact you. If an off-site storage provider has not performed a realistic, well-researched threat assessment, then the risk mitigation strategy is based on guesswork. Certainly events to be considered as part of a threat assessment might include tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, high winds, airplane crashes, biological, chemical, or radiological terrorism, certainly a hazardous material spill, arson, an explosion, bombs. The important thing is that you need to take these things into account as part of your risk assessment. These plans should be written, they should be reviewed on regular intervals, and in cases of changes are warranted, you need to update them. You certainly need to test your plans, and the best way to test plans is through a walkthrough or some form of tabletop exercise. And most importantly, your employees need to be trained to this plan. What is important is to have a risk mitigation strategy, a well thought out plan that allows you to split your samples between multiple facilities. And let's make sure that your facility is not designed just to the minimum of the code. You need to take into account those important items in your risk assessment, your threat assessment that you undertook, to make sure that your building will withstand those types of challenges. One thing that is often forgotten about is electricity to a facility. I can't tell you the number of times we've been contacted to ask, could we come move freezers out of a facility because of power outage? And one of the first questions we ask is, what floor are your freezers on? Because a lot of times in high-rise buildings, the elevators are not on the generators, and therefore we couldn't get to the freezers to get them downstairs. Also take into consideration to have uninterrupted power supplies to the critical equipment in your organization. The purpose of the UPS is not to serve as the battery backup to your computers, to your temperature monitoring systems. The real purpose of the UPS is to ensure that when power is restored, that you don't have a surge that will cause your systems to fail. The design of your building should certainly ensure that you don't have water entering the facility, as well as minimize any damage that could occur to power disruption and backup generators. A number of the repository disasters that I have helped remediate have occurred during the wake of Tropical Storm Sandy in 2012. A number of the off-site storage facilities that our clients were using were in old buildings where the switchgear and the generators were located in the basements of the facility. They got flooded. And when they got flooded, we were called in to help support moving biospecimens and even laboratory animals out of the basements that were prone to that flooding. It's very important to take into facility design as part of your undertaking in your threat assessment. The off-site storage provider should ensure that they manage your data, the inventory of your data, as carefully as your specimens, including the backup of the data on a preset schedule, and testing the recoverability of the data once it's been stored. I encourage you to evaluate your own data retention plan. Do you store by tape? Do you store by another server? Is that server or tape located in the same building that could be impacted by the natural disaster? You certainly want to look into opportunities such as using the cloud or storing data off-site in some secure fashion. So what's the benefit of a risk mitigation strategy? To me, the benefit is to ensure that you have the safe and secure storage of your irreplaceable samples. This is something that Fisher Bioservices does for a living. This is what my team is devoted to. We are devoted to ensure that your samples are housed in a secure facility, monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. My well-trained staff of on-call professionals would be able to respond at a time of risk to help ensure that your samples are secure. Our freezers are validated. We have backup monitoring. We have redundancy in our facility design. We are capable of storing for you at any temperature that you wish, whether that's controlled ambient, plus 4 degrees, minus 20 degrees, minus 80 degrees, or in vapor phase liquid nitrogen storage. Fisher Bioservices is a cold chain expert. We are qualified to transport your samples in times of risk and in times of trouble. It is most important for you to have a well-developed risk strategy, and I would hope that Fisher Bioservices would be considered as part of that risk mitigation strategy. This is what we do to allow you to be able to focus on what you do best, your research or your commercialization of your product.